The Prime Minister's been speaking in Washington, D.C. for the last little while now. Let's take a listen to what he's had to say.
Right to go. Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Good morning. Back in Australia soon. It's the reason we came here to Washington was to take part in the first ever leaders meeting, face-to-face leaders meeting of the Quad. The Quad brings together India, Japan, Australia and the United States. And President Biden, on his initiative, has brought us all together at this very important time as the world faces great challenges. New partnerships amongst old friends continue to be forged, and the Quad partnership is very much of that order, a positive partnership seeking to make strong contributions on the big issues that make a big difference in our region. Issues such as how we produce clean energy into the future, how we're delivering on the COVID vaccine challenge for our region, how we're establishing the new supply chains that fuel and support the new energy economy that's so critical to the economic prosperity of all of our countries, not just those within our partnership, but those well beyond. A key part of the Quad is continue to reinforce that the reason we're coming together is to make a positive and constructive contribution in the region, a contribution that supports the peace and stability across the region, and so individual nations can realise their own ambitions. And so I'm looking forward very much to the Quad gathering tomorrow. I've just come from a meeting with one of my Quad partners, Prime Minister Modi, a dear friend and great friend of Australia. We've been working together for some years now. Today at our meeting we were able to agree some important new initiatives. At our meeting today we agreed to go forward with a low emissions technology partnership, a partnership that will focus on hydrogen development, ultra low cost solar programs to support their energy transition. One of the key points we continue to make about addressing climate change is to ensure that we get the technology transfer from developed to developing economies. If we want to address climate change, then we need to address the change that is necessary in developing economies so they can grow their economies, build their industries, make the things the world needs. And to do that, you need an energy economy that supports those objectives. And so we'll work together closely with our good friends in India to work with the comparative advantages that Australia has, particularly in the area of hydrogen, and working together with their manufacturing capabilities so they can realise that in their own country. It's a key point I made at the G7+ when we're talking about addressing climate change. Unless we can get the technology transformation occurring in developing countries, then I fear that the ambitions that so many have for addressing climate change will be frustrated. We want to make a difference on climate change. You've got to make a difference everywhere, not just in advanced economies. Australia will certainly do our bit. And the bit we're doing in particular is to meet and beat the commitments that we've made and to ensure that we're working with our partner countries around the region to secure that transfer of technology and the transition that is necessary for them to make together with ourselves. In addition to that, we had a very good discussion about our defence partnerships that was particularly progressed at the most recent 2+2 meeting. There was a very positive discussion on critical minerals supply chains. We'll have a bit more to say about that tomorrow when we meet further with the Quad. In addition, both Ministers Tehan and Goyal will be meeting in New Delhi next week. And we have both, Prime Minister Modi and I, tasked our teams to be ambitious when they sit down next week to look at our trade opportunities, particularly in the area of digital trade arrangements. And so it was a very wide-ranging meeting. Of course, we had the opportunity to discuss the recent announcement on the AUKUS agreement and our program to put in place a nuclear-powered fleet of submarines. Keen interest in that from our partners in India, and well received. And looking forward to see how that continues to progress. Of course, I spoke to Prime Minister Modi the night before we made the announcement in Australia last week. The Quad meeting tomorrow will, of course, focus on the issues of clean energy and critical minerals. It'll deal with how we're going to work together, sitting down with leaders, friends working together for peace and stability in our region, friends working together to secure the health and economic recovery from COVID-19. Friends working together to develop new clean energy technology partnerships, stronger action on climate change, and ensuring that we continue to meet and beat the commitments that we've set for ourselves. Friends working together to secure our future and a future for the Indo-Pacific. On the vaccines, I note, as you're probably aware, more than 2 million doses have now been delivered in the last 7 days. That's another major milestone achieved as the vaccination program continues to ramp up. When I was speaking to Jay Powell earlier today, there was keen interest in how that was progressing. We know that as the vaccination program hits these marks, it just gets us closer and closer to being able to open up more parts of the country and seeing the economic recovery follow soon after. We're now around about 75% first doses and 50% second dose. It's going to make a big difference as we continue to surge towards those necessary targets of 70 and 80% that will open Australia up. As of midnight, the key stats, we had 25,782,517 doses administered, and I said over 2 million doses in a week.